You can see we're still experiencing very strong winds. The winds have backed off a bit, but we're still likely talking about wind gusts approaching maybe 40, 50 miles per hour. Earlier, we easily likely had gusts around 90 miles per hour here at the studio in Northeast Cedar Rapids. The good news is there's a lot of lights there. So power, it likely took some hits in the area. We saw it right outside our studio, but at least we're not in total blackout in Lynn County, which is very good news. You can also see the other threat we're dealing with this evening. That's the very intense lightning. The lightning can be just as dangerous as anything else that's going on. Again, we had that 90-mile-per-hour wind gust in Hiawatha, not far from where we are here in the studio. So if you're just popping in, let's do a quick reset on the most destructive thunderstorm that we're talking about right now. I'm going to walk over back to the wall here, but we do have this severe thunderstorm warning, which continues. This is a destructive thunderstorm. 80-mile-per-hour wind gusts will be likely. This warning continues for Cedar County, northern Cedar County, as well as Jones and Lynn County. That until 9:15. Anamosa around 8:20, Monticello around 8:26, Center Junction 8:28, Lisbon and the Mount Vernon area around there around 8:36, Otter Creek 9:41, Mechanicsville 8:45, Otter Creek 8:41, excuse me, Pecocata around 8:55, Lost Nation, they'll be in your area around 9 o'clock. So now this will be paramount for all of our friends that are dealing with RAGBRAI. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, which has just been issued down south. Let's go ahead and pan this camera. We do have this brand new severe thunderstorm warning here. That is for Iowa County, virtually all of Johnson County here, as well as much of Cedar County. This is another considerable threat, a 70-mile-per-hour threat for severe weather moving through the area tonight. All of our friends at RAGBRAI, you need to take shelter now. You need to take shelter right now. Take the shot if you got it. Well, I'll keep talking. Here's I-3 at Swisher. This is the storm that's moving in your direction. We're looking south here, and what you can see there on the horizon, all that dust that's getting kicked up in the leading edge. Kason, if you can work with Coralville, if you can get our Coralville sky cam.
I do have our Cedar Rapids South one up, and it is intense right now as well. If we want to pull that, and I'll work on getting Coralville up here.
Yeah, so this is the Cedar Rapids sky cam. You can kind of see in the bottom right side of your screen, that might be actually covered up by the ticker, but there's flags down there that are blowing pretty intense. Very strong winds with the storm that are now moving into the eastern Iowa airport. The storm is kind of shaped kind of weird, where us in northern Cedar Rapids and downtown Cedar Rapids got hit very hard. It's just now, the hardest of it, moving towards the eastern Iowa airport. So you can kind of see that big shelf cloud, the very strong winds as well. All this traffic moving northbound to I-380, you really want to get off the interstate. You do not want to be driving into the storm. The worst of it right now approaching about Highway 30 and Wrights Brother Boulevard there by the airport exit. So that is that severe thunderstorm warning continues for Cedar Rapids. Again, we have this other brand new warning as well. So all of our friends in RAGBRAI down in Coralville, you need to be listening to emergency responders and officials. If you're listening to us right now on mobile, got to make sure you guys are taking shelter right now. Sturdy building, you got to leave tents. Vehicles might be okay with 70 miles per hour. Look at that shot. So this is what's coming into Coralville. We have thousands upon tens of thousands of people visiting in Coralville. This is the storm that's moving in there right now. Nice job, Kason, getting that shot set up. You can see that big shelf cloud on the way. That's the leading edge of very intense winds, likely approaching maybe 70 to 80 miles per hour. This will be moving into Johnson County towards Coralville, Iowa City, North Liberty right now. So this will be slowly moving down that way. That shelf cloud is right on the leading edge of that wind here. So let's go ahead and kind of give you guys a quick timeline of where this storm will be moving. Let's say it's moving at about 50 miles per hour. We'll draw it along the gust front here. We'll take it off to the south and east. So again, this is just kind of some rough timing for planning purposes. North Liberty around 8:23. Within the next couple of minutes, the worst of it will arrive. Coal Ridge Mall there in Coralville around 8:31. Iowa City at 8:38. Tipton at 8:40. Grand Mountain around 8:54. And DeWitt outside of our area around 8:59. So again, that severe thunderstorm warning continues until 9:15 here. Very intense winds are moving on in. Kason, any new reports coming on in?
And I'm not sure if you mentioned it because I was working on some other things, but actually that severe thunderstorm warning here, as I'll move us up, the one that is right over Cedar Rapids right now. Ooh, whoopsie, I gotta clear that up.
I see what you're talking about.
It's warned for 100 miles an hour now. So obviously that's, I'm gonna try and move us up. Yeah, this is warned right here, this warning for 100 mile per hour winds that is obviously just very destructive. So you're just looking at towns that are going to be in the way of this soon. Obviously moving into Anamosa now, Wyoming, Oxford Junction, you're in this warning, Olin, Mechanicsville, Lisbon, you are in this warning for right now. 100-mile-per-hour winds are expected out of that. It looks like they might have just dropped it back down to 80, which is a little bit better news, but certainly still destructive storms moving across the area here. And it doesn't matter where you are. All of these severe thunderstorm warnings are warned for, 70 or 80-mile-per-hour winds as they are moving their way on through. Obviously that is just some real cause for concern. We have some video from Marion. I think if we have that there. Here's some of that video. You can see it looks like in an intersection there. Yeah, it's just really tough to see that rain is just falling sideways. Basically, got that semi has its hazards on. Tough to see here. That was what moved through a little bit earlier. So you can just see how difficult it is to obviously see then. And also the wind's just really, really blowing hard. So obviously we'll be watching that sort of gust front that's kind of out there in the middle or out there ahead of this storm. That's where a lot of those early destructive winds are going to be located. It looks like that is actually back up to 100 miles an hour now.
Yeah, there was a new warning that was issued that kind of underneath it. But yeah, the 100 mile per hour tag stands. So this is about as intense as it gets, friends. We went through the worst of it in Cedar Rapids. The worst of it is now exiting, but we still have large portions of our area that will be dealing with the brunt of powerful, powerful wind gusts. Again, the worst of that storm has now moved into Jones County, will be approaching Cedar County and northern Johnson County. So very intense winds here. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to do this many times. We're just going to kind of give you guys updates on timing just to give you some awareness. You can see the leading edge of that storm almost into Iowa City and Coralville right now. So Solon is pretty much on you right now. North Liberty around 826. If it's not already on you, it's probably there pretty soon. Coleridge Mall and Coralville around 832. I wouldn't wait that long. I think it's probably going to be there before then, at least the strong initial gusts of it. Tipton over in Cedar County around 841. Wheatland around 849. So this just shows you the intensity of this storm that's moving through the area right now. We're starting to see a lot of reports in the Cedar Rapids metro area of tree branches down, tree limbs down, power lines broken. So we definitely went through a very intense thunderstorm in the Cedar Rapids metro area, and that continues. I don't want to forget our friends downstream. This line of storms continues to bring the intensity as it moves on through. You're looking at a live view right now from the south side of Cedar Rapids. This is right by the airport. You can see the camera there shaking pretty good as well. The worst of that storm is still in the deeper part of the range. So there's an initial gust front of very strong winds, and the worst of the wind is actually a bit more behind it. So right now we have the latest report. This may go up, but the latest report is about 2,500 people without power right now in Linn County. I want to go through, if you guys can take radar full, I'm going to pop over to the wall again, friends. Again, this is the worst of the storm right now. It's likely moving just through Springville, Lisbon, Mount Vernon. Get ready. The worst of that storm is right here. This is the core of the maximum winds approaching 100 miles per hour. Anamosa, it's way too close to call. I would be in your safe place anyway. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. A basement's ideal, but if you don't have a basement, that's fine. Just upper level of your house, but as many walls between you and the outside, like an interior hallway, interior closet, interior bathroom. We want to make sure you're taking shelter from these severe thunderstorms. Morley, coming your way as well. Mechanicsville, this will be coming in your direction as well. So very intense wind is continuing to move and barrel through southeastern and eastern portions of Linn County. It will now be moving into southwestern portion of Jones County and northwest Cedar County. This is the strongest part of the storm. It moved right through northern Cedar Rapids, Marion, Hiawatha, and Robbins. It's now moving towards Springville. We're talking about Morley, Lisbon, Mount Vernon, Mechanicsville. Those areas, I'm calling out your town, or at least if you're living near that town, you need to be taking shelter right now because this is a powerful line of storms moving through right now. Looking at some of the velocity data here, again, this is a bit up in the atmosphere, but there's some potential. We're clearly seeing it reach down to the ground. Radar indications of nearly 100 mile per hour wind gusts here, now moving into southwestern Jones County. So you really need to make sure you're taking this storm very seriously here. Let's go ahead. We'll go back and kind of do a quick reset. I want to just kind of bring everybody up to speed of what we're dealing with right now. The worst of the weather right now, moving through Lynn County into Jones County and northern Cedar County. Well, let's take a live view right now from Coralville. You can see the strongest of the storm. This is the gust front starting to arrive right now. Wind gusts approaching 60 to 70 miles per hour will be likely there, followed by potentially even stronger winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour. But I think Coralville and Iowa City, at least as of now, will likely miss the core of the most powerful winds. We do have a line of thunderstorms that extends from Dubuque over towards Cedar Rapids, over towards Tama as well. Tama County remains in that severe thunderstorm warning, as well as Iowa County, southern Benton County, Jones County, and Cedar County. So let's do a bit of a kind of walk around. We'll go through from kind of line of the storm, and we'll go swing all the way around over towards Dubuque. We'll start off here with this severe thunderstorm warning that continues here. This is for Tama County. We still have that threat of 70 mile per hour winds with that right there. And that was actually a confirmed report. We actually had winds of 93 measured in Albion and Poweshiek County, just west of Tama County. So hopefully the worst of it did not reach into Tama County, but we know that it was certainly possible. That severe thunderstorm warning continues until 8:30. There's another polygon here, though, actually until 9:15. I'm trying to get this guy right here. I don't think I'm getting the right one. But there's this severe thunderstorm warning. There we go. For 60 mile per hour winds, that continues for Tama County. So Tama County, you're almost out of it. Give another maybe 20 minutes, and the worst of it will now be off to your south. We'll now move over. We have this very large polygon here. This severe thunderstorm warning continues for northern Iowa County, most of Johnson County, and northwestern and western portions of Cedar County. We're talking about winds of 70 miles per hour. The worst of that right now, basically into Coralville. We'll be moving into Iowa City towards West Branch as well. Solon, you're already in the thick of that storm. Swisher, North Liberty, Oxford as well. South of Iowa City, you're going to be next. So Hills, this storm is coming in your direction as well. Washington County and Keokuk County, for the time being, you're escaping the severe weather warnings, but that may change with time. We'll have to see how things evolve here. The worst of that storm continues to be this destructive thunderstorm, 100 mile per hour winds right now moving through eastern Lynn County, but the worst of it right now is likely in western portions of Jones County, moving towards northwestern portions of Cedar County. The worst of that weather, pretty much in Anamosa right now. Monticello over towards Morley, Wyoming, you'll be next, down towards Oxford Junction. If we look at the velocity view, we'll kind of see how the raindrops are moving, how fast they're moving, and you can kind of see that core of that winds right here, moving from eastern Lynn County into western portions of Jones County. So again, Anamosa, Morley, Lisbon, Mount Vernon, over towards Clarence, Oxford Junction, Wyoming, Monticello. Get ready. We're talking about winds potentially as high as 100 miles per hour. Put the radar view back on. I'm going to go back, just clear this banner, and we'll swing off to the north, where we're still dealing with severe weather over in the Dubuque area. By the Dubuque airport, we're talking about pretty strong winds here. There are so many polygons here. I'm not going to be able to get the right one. I'm not even going to try. But we're talking about winds of potentially 60 to 70 miles per hour pushing out of Dubuque County into northern portions of Jackson County. Jackson County, we hand that over to our friends in the Quad Cities. They are the ones that take over the TV coverage for Jackson County. But we do have that very strong winds moving from the Dubuque airport roughly into Jackson County. Of course, we're also still dealing with pretty strong winds here on the backside. This is another damaging threat. On the backside of that initial line moving into Dubuque, we got some pretty strong winds here. So this is pushing out of Delaware County into Dubuque County. So Earlville, Dyersville, down to Hopkinton. We get Epworth, Cascade. That's another area where we're going to be talking about potentially very strong winds, around 70 to 80 miles per hour. Meteorologist Kason Frericks continuing to keep an eye on the severe weather reports coming on in. Any updates?
Yeah, obviously a lot of reports are now coming in of the damage that has taken place here in the Cedar Rapids metro area as well as Marion. Reports of tree branches, larger tree branches, you're looking at 3 to 5 inch in diameter that have been really snapped off. We've also seen some reports actually of power poles that have also been snapped in the area, contributing to what was a couple thousand here just in Linn County who were without power. We keep continuing to see reports of 70 to 80 mile per hour winds with these storms as well. And we've also seen reports of a damage to some mobile homes. Not sure exactly where that particular maybe mobile home park is at or where those homes are located, but obviously those are structures that do not do well when there are 100 mile per hour wind gusts working through the area. So the damage likely to be widespread across obviously the city here as well. And Nick, looks like we have a little bit of extent. It looks like it's mostly out of our area, obviously, but a bit of an extension there on that destructive severe thunderstorm warning.
Yeah, a new severe thunderstorm warning there for the southeastern and eastern portions there of Cedar County as this ahead of the line of storms, and this will ultimately be moving into the Quad Cities area. So down towards Davenport, Rock Island, Moline, that'll inevitably be heading down that way. But of course, this is exiting our area as well. This storm continues to move off to the east now at 70 miles per hour. So the speed on this continues to kind of uptick. If we put another fan on it, we'll give another kind of heads up when this will be moving into your area. Let me go ahead and set this up here for you. The strongest core of winds along the leading edge of the gust front, and then it continues to dive east and southeast. So Clarence around 8:31, Iowa City around 8:37, if it's not there already. Bellevue, that's technically out of our area, around 8:45, and then all those other towns are outside of our viewing area. But if you know people that may be living in those areas, friends or relatives, give them a call, give them a text, let them know the danger that's coming our way. We do have some pretty intense winds that will be exiting our area, moving into northwestern Illinois and far, far eastern and southeastern portions of Iowa outside of our viewing area. Just kind of keeping an eye on traffic reports and things like that. It seems like the interstates and things took that initial line through Cedar Rapids pretty well. I'm not seeing any major reports of crashes or anything. That's good news there. But again, the worst of that storm is now moving into Jones County. We'll go ahead and we'll zoom back in here. The worst of that storm continues to be with this destructive 100 mile per hour tag. I'm not sure if it's still or not. There's just so many polygons issued. They're just slapped on top of each other.
It's still warned, yeah. I have it pulled
still
up here. It's still warned for 100 mile per hour destructive winds, obviously, with that obviously gust front that is out ahead of these storms, and then obviously more strong winds that are in behind that where sort of the rain is. So you're kind of getting a 1-2 punch as these kind of kick on through the area. Actually, you can see those bright blues and even some purples kind of showing up there. Those are just the really, really, really intense winds that are a part of these storms. You can see it's starting to work its way places like Wyoming, Olin, Mechanicsville. You're probably getting some very strong winds right now. Stanwood and Clarence, those are just right around in the next couple of minutes. You are going to be expecting these strong winds that are up to 80 plus miles per hour working their way into your area. Make sure you're getting inside a home and obviously also staying away from the windows in your home as well.
And you can really kind of see, as you know, he was alluding to, that very thick core of the strongest winds. Now really exiting Linn County, we're still going to be dealing with some pretty strong wind gusts periodically approaching maybe 40 to 50 miles per hour. So if you're going to be outside surveying the damage around your neighborhood, be mindful of what's above you. Power lines or tree limbs that may have been damaged but haven't fully fallen. Before you walk anywhere, it's dark outside, look up. Look up what's above you if you're going to start surveying the damage, because you don't know what you're going to be walking into. If you are walking outside in the dark, have a flashlight. Make sure you can see before you step on a nail or some type of damage. Just some tips if you're going to be surveying the damage. Again, the worst of that wind right now moving towards Morley, Olin, over towards Anamosa, Mechanicsville, and racing right down Highway 30. So if I kind of look at the traditional radar view, the rain view of things, you can kind of see the strongest core of winds. They're going to happen with the heavier precipitation because it needs that precipitation to mix those winds down. And so your strongest winds are going to be in this heavier precipitation right now. But that initial gust, where we could see gusts of maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour, that's now well to the east. Like Oxford Junction, it probably already just blew through you there. Clarence is already through you as well. Loudon, that's kind of the last stop in our viewing area for this storm for it to go through. That'll be approaching here within the next couple of minutes. This is the initial gust front, where we're talking about wind gusts of potentially 50 to 60 miles per hour, maybe as high as 70, but those gusts of 80 to maybe 90 miles per hour, even reported 100 miles per hour. That will be kind of in this heavier precipitation core right here. So Onslow to Wyoming, Scotch Grove, Olin, Morley, Anamosa, south of Monticello. This is going to be the core of the most intense winds right now. We actually, as you can still tell, we actually do have a tornado warning that continues just off to our east and southeast here. This is outside of our viewing area, but you probably are going to see it on the side of your screen. Just want to give you a heads up. There's a little, you can kind of see like a nubbin right there. That is where that circulation would be, southwest of Otter Creek. But again, this is exiting our area. This is not going to affect our viewing area. But if you're watching us online and you happen to be in the Quad Cities and things like that, know that that's kind of heading in that general direction. For us, the main threat continues to be the destructive winds moving through eastern Iowa. Let's do a reset on things, a situation right now. Let's actually take a live, or not a live view, but a video from the RAGBRAI area earlier. This is from our photojournalist, Logan Schroeder. You can see the shelf cloud that's moving on through. He's partaking in the RAGBRAI, or near the RAGBRAI festivities. All those tents, that's what concerns me the most. A lot of people in RVs and tents in RAGBRAI. We're talking about tens of thousands of people that are visiting the area as part of RAGBRAI, and they just experienced a good old Iowa thunderstorm. We're talking winds of potentially 70 to 80 miles per hour rolled on through the Coralville area. Hopefully everyone is taking shelter with it. Here's again a look at the current state of things. There are warning polygons slapped all over the place here. The general idea, though, is that we have a strong line of thunderstorms moving from Dubuque towards the Anamosa area, still sitting in Cedar Rapids, and then this extends westward into southern Tama County, southern Benton County, northern Iowa County, and northern Johnson County as well. So this line is going to continue to move east and southeast over the next several hours. We have a long way to go before the storm is finally through our area, and we may be dealing with thunderstorms throughout the night tonight. You may notice what's happening well off to our northwest, over towards Floyd County. There's another severe thunderstorm warning for another storm that just popped up as well. So again, we're watching this big old line of thunderstorms as it moves through the area. Lynn County, latest update is 3,000 customers without power. You can take a look at it right now. Lynn County, 2,945. That's not a significant portion of the population, but that's pretty big. You can see Buchanan County's got some outages as well, and we're starting to see some numbers there in Benton County, nearly 1,000 customers in the dark there. And I got to tell you, I just walked outside here a minute ago. I think a lot of these outages are northeast Cedar Rapids, because outside of our studio, it looks very dark. All the houses here in the neighborhood, I don't see any lights on. So I think a lot of these outages are likely in the northeastern side of Cedar Rapids. Here's a live view right now from the Eastern Iowa Airport exit on I-380. A lot of traffic going southbound, not as much going northbound, which is good. We don't want them driving in this storm tonight. Again, kind of summarizing the radar threat. Kaysen, by the way, if you have anything, just feel free to shout and let me know. We'll jump over to you. But again, we're watching that line of storms that moves on through. I think the good news here is that things are not looking as intense as they were. I don't want to belittle this at all. Based on what we went through, this has a pretty good chance that it can uptick once again. However, those destructive 100-mile-per-hour winds likely subsiding just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the warnings. We're going to be jumping around here, and the reason we're going wall to wall with the severe thunderstorm warning is the severity of this. I don't think anybody in Cedar Rapids has to question why we're on the air right now. We just went through a very intense thunderstorm. We do have this warning that continues here for Lynn County, Jones County, and northern Cedar County. That continues until 9 o'clock for about another 20 minutes. You can see they still have the 100-mile-per-hour tag with this storm. Very likely some intense winds of 80, 90, perhaps 100-mile-per-hour winds still moving through portions of Jones County. The worst of that weather, I think, is outside of Lynn County at this point in time, but also northern portions of Cedar County. You're going to be dealing with those very intense winds pretty shortly as well. We'll jump on down to, again, Johnson County. We're dealing with this severe thunderstorm warning as well. That warning will continue until, I believe it's 9:45. Let me jump on down here. Oh, that's also 9:15. My apologies. 9:15, this severe thunderstorm warning, which continues for northern Iowa County, much of Johnson County, and this will move over into Cedar County as well. This particular storm, we're talking about wind gusts of 70 miles per hour, some small hail as well. We had that initial gust front. You can see it is now well through the Iowa City metro area. That continues, though, to dive southeast. Let's take a look around the Iowa City metro area. I have literally the camera I was about to pull up. So there's a live view right now at the Pentecrest in Iowa City. You can see on the horizon there, we're looking off to the west here. So on the left side of your screen, that's south. And so you can see the leading edge of that storm there on the horizon. Thankfully, not a lot of people out and about. Hopefully they're aware of the severity of the storm that'll be moving on through eastern Iowa right now. That's moving on through the area. But again, we're dealing with very strong winds now moving through Iowa City metro area. Here's a live look at Highway 218 and Highway 1 on the west side of town. You see the camera shaking pretty good. The stronger wind gusts are starting to arrive. We're talking about wind gusts right now around 60 to 70 miles per hour. These, though, could increase potentially maybe 70 to 80, but I think the worst of the wind, thankfully, should stay just off to the north for our friends in Ragbri. Unfortunately, that is moving through Jones County. Here's a live view right now at Kiddick Stadium. You can see that shelf cloud there. This is looking again off to the south and southeast. The leading edge of that very big shelf cloud there, that's that leading edge of the really strong winds. I'm trying to pull up our camera that's on Burlington Street. I don't know if I'm going to be able to snipe it here. I'm not going to be able to. That's fine. Very strong winds here. Let's look at maybe the south side. Again, here's 218 Highway 1. We'll jump up north more towards the Swisher area. You can see the frequent lightning, heavy rain falling there. Frequent lightning. That is going to be the other major concern with storms going forward tonight. Kason, any new reports coming out in?
Just obviously damage reports kind of pulling on in here as well. Sorry, looking back a little bit. Obviously, these storms continuing to track its way off towards the south and east. We've seen the reports still coming in of 70-mile-per-hour winds, 80-mile-per-hour winds as well. Of course, these storms labeled as destructive for 80-plus mile-per-hour winds there as we're pushing on through. I know that we're working to get some video. We have some more video of it working through Cedar Rapids here when that initial line kind of rolled on through. So if you can just let me know possibly when we have that there as well. If you want to take maybe our Coralville Skycam right now, that's where obviously a lot of the action is starting to pick up there. It looks like obviously it is 8:43, but it is just entirely dark out there. But like Nick mentioned, is the prolific lightning that's taking place, and you can just see it's like every second we've got lightning coming out. So that's one of those other hazards as well. If you're trying to get a peek outside even and try and snap a couple pictures or a video, that's even dangerous then, the possibility of maybe even getting struck by lightning there. Certainly that possibility. We can go back to Max 1 now. I can control it here and kind of take us around what's kind of going on into the area. So obviously, so storms right there, moving out of Tama County, not really kind of moving out of the area there. Tama, a little bit out of in the clear now. Those have moved out of your area here. Obviously, that line of storms starting to enter near Solon as well as North Liberty. Obviously, you had that gust front moved on through. You were looking at 50, 60-mile-per-hour winds there. And then once the line with that has the rain in it, that you're obviously going to see those winds 70, possibly 80 mile per hour during that time, moving into Marengo now as well as Oxford. So North Liberty, in the next couple of minutes here, you're going to be in the gun, and that includes obviously Coralville and Iowa City as well as West Branch. You're likely going to be seeing some issues here within the next couple of minutes with some very gusty winds there. If you've got folks maybe traveling on Interstate 80, whatever way they're going, if they're heading east or heading west through the area, maybe they're not weather aware or they don't know entirely what's going on, maybe give them a call, let them know. Obviously, as they approach maybe Iowa City, they can get off, just kind of wait this out a little bit. We've had reports of blinding rain taking place, the rain falling sideways because the wind is so strong, visibility greatly reduced out of these as well. We'll continue to just push this over. You can see, obviously, this is that severe thunderstorm warning that's mostly pushed out of our area now, and we still have, obviously, this tornado warning where you can actually see that little bit of a notch there near Otter Creek. That's mostly out of our area here as well. Our friends at the Quad Cities are kind of dealing with that, but obviously you can get those sort of spin-ups on that leading edge of lines of storms like this, and then we can get that little spin to happen, and that could possibly be a tornado that there is on the ground. So we'll just give you a wide view, I should say, as that new, that's a big polygon there that has come in. So this will actually include Washington County. Now you're included in southern portions of Johnson County there, included into that newest warning that has been issued. Once again, still destructive storms storms with expecting 80+ miles per hour winds with those here. So make sure folks down there in Washington, Riverside, you're getting ready to go into your safe place, because like we've said a couple times already, treat these like it's a tornado warning, since we've got that destructive tag on it. That can blow obviously debris around. We've seen trees, large tree branches snapped, as well as power poles, reports of those being snapped, and damage to mobile homes as well as roofs across the area here. Nick, you got anything else? Obviously, looking at some of the reports coming in.
Just seeing some damage reports of power poles broken in Cedar Rapids. This is northeast Cedar Rapids. We did have reports at the Dubuque Airport gusting measured of 60 miles per hour. These storms continue to pack quite a punch as they move on through the area. We had some spotted reports of power out, multiple branches down. I don't have exact location other than northeast Cedar Rapids. I do know northeast Cedar Rapids likely got the worst of the storm. I'm trying to check into my security cameras at home, and I don't have any connectivity, which means we're either out without power or internet or both, either one of those things. We had a lot of reports, thankfully of not a lot of hail, which is good news. That's the one positive here. The majority of things I'm seeing here are primarily going to be wind damage. We had some destructive storms that moved on through the area. You can see the storm continues moving southward, so Iowa County to Johnston County to Cedar County. That severe thunderstorm warning for 70 mile per hour winds. We're talking about you had that initial gust front, but you got that second wave that's going to be coming on in with the heaviest of that precipitation. And again, for those that are east of us, just an FYI, with that tornado warning, there is a confirmed tornado near Andrew. But again, that is outside of our area. That's north of Maquoketa. But just an FYI for anybody that may be watching us out that way, with that tornado warning, there is a confirmed tornado now.
I can try and get over there maybe just to look at that.
We just had another report from the Dubuque Airport, gusting to 60 knots, doing some quick math, that would be about 66 to 67 miles per hour, so nearly 70 mile per hour winds now in the Dubuque area. We just had a brand new report coming of 71 miles per hour. This is from the Union Pacific Railroad Mesonet Station, which I didn't know was a thing until right now, but that's awesome. But we have a report of 71 mile per hour now in Loudon. That's in far southeastern portions of Cedar County. That is with that initial gust of wind. So we're getting all sorts of reports here coming on in with this very intense line of storms that continues to move through eastern Iowa. We can actually kind of, if I can take over here for a second, we'll pop up just all the reports, and you can kind of see all these reports that extend way off to the northwest. I'm going to turn off the lightning because there's a lot going on here. But again, we have that confirmed tornado there. There's the new polygon. This is near Andrew, north of Maquoketa. Again, this is not in our viewing area, but there is the Jackson County Fair that is going on right now. This would be moving in that area. So if you know anybody that may be at the Jackson County Fair, maybe give them another call, another text. Let them know that they got significant problems coming their way in Jackson County. But the majority of the reports that we're seeing here in the Cedar Rapids metro area, real quick, and kind of pop up some of these. We had a gust here in Atkins of 60 miles per hour. We had a gust here of Palo of 70 miles per hour. Midway of 82 miles per hour. We had this gust here near Hiawatha of 90 miles per hour. That was the other thing that we're doing. We also have 66 miles per hour in Marion, damage to mobile homes. Southeast Cedar Rapids, 72 miles per hour. So we had a very intense line of storms that moved on through. The Cedar Rapids Airport gusted to 69 miles per hour at 8:16. And finally, we got that report near Loudon of 71. So this storm made its presence felt. Gust of 53 over towards Vinton. We do have Nick Wagon, the road warrior, tonight. He's in the Cedar Rapids metro area, kind of surveying things. Nick, can you just tell us exactly kind of where you are, and are you observing any damage or anything like that in Cedar Rapids?
Well, Nick, so far we've only seen just some minor damage, small tree limbs in the roadway. We're making our way to the east side of Marion right now on 7th Ave. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the shot. You can see things much calmer despite plenty of lightning out there still, but the winds have calmed here in the metro. The rain is beginning to subside, at least on the north side of the metro. And right now we are heading for that report of mobile homes that were damaged near Highway 151 and Highway 13 on the northeast side of Marion. But again, so far, obviously you see with the road construction here in Marion, some cones knocked over. We've seen some limbs down and some debris in the roadway. Fortunately, no major damage that we've seen so far, but we're going to check out and see, make sure everyone's okay on that mobile home park where there was damage reported to some of the homes there. Nick, we'll send it back to you.
All right, we continue to watch the severe weather as it moves through the area. Again, this was a very intense line of thunderstorms that continues to move through. We'll give you a quick update on the warnings that we have right now. This severe thunderstorm warning continues for all of Washington County. 60-mile-per-hour winds now moving into the northern portion of Washington County. That gust front there from Riverside over to Wellman, that'll be moving south and southeast. So if we do put a quick fan on this to track its track, let's say 40 miles per hour, as it moves through Washington County here. Lexington around 8:59, the Wellman area around 8:51, and then Keota around 9:01. Then down towards Crawfordsville, that'll be affecting your area generally probably around about 9:15 to 9:20 or so. So that's rough timing as that storm continues to move through Washington County. We have this other severe thunderstorm warning that continues for 80-mile-per-hour winds. This is southeastern portions of Cedar County. This is now moving towards the Davenport area. Very intense winds here on the leading edge here. We'll do another quick fan on this to time this out. Again, this is kind of primarily exiting our area. But Durand around 8:55, DeWitt around 9:02, Aldridge around 9:10, Bluegrass around 9:14. That's that initial gust of wind moving in that direction. Moving farther off to the north, we are still watching this tornado warning, which again is outside of our area. It is in Jackson County, a confirmed tornado moving through Jackson County right now. This does include Andrew, Van Buren, down towards Savannah in Illinois. You can see Springbrook right there. This is a confirmed tornado based on radar and reports. I can actually pop up the what we call the correlation coefficient or damage indicator, and you can kind of make out there is a debris signature there north of Andrew. This is a confirmed tornado moving through, again, Jackson County, what is outside of our area. Over towards Dubuque area, we're still dealing with very strong winds as well. This warning, let's just say 9:30. I'm not sure when we'll be able to really get there. It is. Say 9 o'clock, gust of 60 miles per hour there. Very intense winds are moving through the area as well. So we're almost done with this, friends. This line is almost through the area, almost into northern Illinois. But we're still dealing with the effects of it here. Again, this is, of course, still moving through Iowa County. We have this until 9:15, a considerable threat of 70-mile-per-hour winds. If you're in the Coralville area, Iowa City area, North Liberty, Newport over towards West Branch, Hills is in this area as well. You had that initial gust of winds, likely 50 to 60 miles per hour, and we're about to get another pretty good burst of winds as this continues to move southward. So North Liberty, you're probably going to start getting into the winds here pretty soon, as well as the heavier rainfall and frequent lightning. Want to make sure you're treating the lightning with respect just as much as everything else. So that's kind of that line right now. As this all continues to move on through, we continue to kind of pour through reports that are slowly coming on in. We have another report in Dubuque County near Zwingle of 59 miles per hour. More confirmations of the tornado in Jackson County, which again is outside of our area. Marion, we had a measured gust of 66 miles per hour. We had other reports around 90 miles per hour. Loudon against 71. So this intense line of storms continues to kind of move through the area. Kason, if you get a second too, if you can pull up the Cedar Rapids, our tower sky cam, and kind of look around and see if we can find some damage kind of around the studio. I'm not sure if there's any responders or anything like that. Go ahead and take Split with Road Warrior. Okay, we got a live view again of the Road Warrior tonight, kind of traveling around the Cedar Rapids metro area. We did have some reports earlier of damage to mobile homes. I believe that is what we're on the hunt for right now. You can see a lot of people are out surveying the damage. A few people walking there. There's looks like maybe some damage to the bottom of that mobile home there. But again, this is some of the situations that we're dealing with. A lot of very strong winds move through the area this evening. And again, just a reminder, if you are out going to be surveying the damage around your property, you really need to make sure you're looking out for power lines, tree limbs down, things like that. You don't exactly know what you're going to be walking into. Make sure you're using a flashlight to survey the damage at night. And of course, look at what's above you as well. Be very cognizant of hanging power lines, hanging tree branches. The fatalities that we had in the August 10th, 2020 derecho, most of those were due to damage, power lines down, tree limbs falling. So just keep that in mind, that even though the worst of the weather is moving out, the worst of the impacts may still be sticking with us here for a while. So again, we're just kind of cruising through the area, kind of looking for damage reports right now. Here's again a look at the radar view of things as this line continues to kind of move through Cedar Rapids. We're still dealing with the effects of some strong gusty winds here and there, maybe around 50 to 60 miles per hour, but the worst of the weather is really moving east of Lynn County now, almost completely now out of Jones County as well. Cedar County, you're going to be dealing with the strong winds as well. Northern Johnson County, we're dealing with that intense winds over towards Iowa County. So this line is going to continue to drift southward. The leading edge of the very strong winds, you can kind of make it out here very clearly from about Maquoketa, just west of the Quad Cities, and now approaching Washington. So Washington, you're about to get a big gust of wind here. This will be way ahead of the actual rain, and a lot of the lightning will be way off on the horizon. You're about to get a pretty good gust of wind here, maybe 50 to 60 miles per hour. That's the current indication that we're seeing moving into Washington. So Washington County and Washington, get ready for a good gust of wind.